Hello everyone, my name is Lucy and welcome to Books and Brushes. So today I'm doing the first half of my April wrap up. So this month I had a brilliant reading month. At the time of recording this I'm on book number 7, I think. I think that's where it's going to stick, number 7. But either way, I've got far too many books to talk about and far too many thoughts on these books to do it in one video. So I'm just going to split it in two and it'll be a fun time. So let's just get straight in because I cannot wait to talk about the first 2 books. I think these may be my favourites. So many things to say. I will probably forget all of them because that's how I work. So the first 2 books I read in April were This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. Yes, because now I have both of the editions in the US covers because the UK covers are horrible. Let's not go into that. But I absolutely loved this duology. Now, I went into it thinking I'd like it, but oh my god, I loved it so much. Victoria Schwab's writing style I just find so beautiful and compelling and interesting. I absolutely love the plot of this and the world and the characters. It's just, there's so much heart and soul to these books. I felt so much connection to them while reading them. I thoroughly enjoyed it and I'm lost for words. So these books are set in like this fantasy world and it takes place in like a city called Verity, which is kind of divided in 2. There are monsters roaming Verity, which come out at night. There's like Korosai and Sunai and Malachi. That was it, Malachi. So these monsters come out at night and like I said, the city is divided in 2 because like they couldn't agree on how to deal with the monster problem. So you've got north and south. You've got one side which is like owned by this guy who's pretty rich, and the leader of that side, the monsters are like his minions, so like he can control them and people like can pay for his protection. And then on the other side, it's more of like a war where they're fighting the monsters and they're trying to save everyone. And it's a little bit more dystopian, but also it's a little bit more fair. 2 sides are completely different, almost at war with each other because they just don't agree. The story is about the son of the war side and the daughter of the money side. And they both go to this private school in the, is it the north side? I can't remember all the details. But we've got Kate, who is pretty thorny. She's obviously grown up with a very distant, evil, kind of malicious father, money-hungry man, and she just wants to be home. That's all she wants, is to be home in Verity. Everyone's scared of her. She's pretty thorny, pretty scary. She's very devious, very driven. I loved Kate as a character. I just thought the way she thought and her motivations, I just thought she was such an interesting character. And then on the flip side you have August, who is a Sunai. So Sunais are the rarest monster and they take your soul by like singing you a song. August in particular plays a violin and he can take your soul. He takes the soul of sinners. So if you have like killed someone, he can take your soul. But August is a good person. Like I think of him as a person because technically he's a monster, but he's got so much humanity and his character, oh, he's so sweet. I love August. I would protect him with my life. He's so sweet. All he wants is to be like a real human and not to have to be a monster. And he has to control like this dark urge to take souls. He has to take some every now and then, otherwise he'll go completely batshit. He's so good at controlling it, and like other Sunais are telling him to just let go, but he won't. He refuses to be the monster that he was born to be. And these 2, August and Kate, kind of have to work against each other and work together. And the dynamic between these 2 characters is just so insane. They're 2 totally opposite people and yet they're so on the same page. There's so much going on between these 2 books, and of course I don't want to say any of what happens in Our Dark Duet because I'm going to spoil This Savage Song, so I'll try and keep it vague. But essentially I love the writing. So beautifully written and so full of heart and interesting metaphors and writing style. You can definitely tell Victoria Schwab wrote this. This series has sold me on her. I read and loved City of Ghosts, and what else did I read by her? I think that's it. But this, I'm fully a Victoria Schwab stan now. I completely understand the hype for Victoria Schwab. I want to read everything she's written. Although I do think in particular this story, I don't know why, it just connected with me. I really felt so connected to these characters in this world. The world building was so fantastic. I felt fully there. This world is so gritty and dark and real, and it's real to me. It is a very magical and fantastical world, but I feel it's so gritty and dark and real, and I just love it. I read this right at the beginning beginning of April and it's still pretty vivid in my mind, and these characters are definitely going to stick with me. Oh, there's so much action and drama and humanity and heart and interest and moral intrigue, all of the things I love in books in this series. Oh, I highly recommend it. I know that one person said that they didn't like it. I think it was Elise Reason Speaks. If it was you, sorry, I really loved it. I am now stan. I'm fully on board, guys. I'm fully on board. I could talk about these books literally for so long, but I'm going to try and leave it there because I don't want to spoil things and I don't want to repeat myself. If you want to talk and discuss these books in more detail, I am very happy to do so. The third book I read in April, and the last book I will talk about today because my boyfriend's back, so I'm trying to be quiet, and that is Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James. Now, this was a total different book. This was so not, I didn't know what it would be, but it was definitely not whatever I thought it would be. It was a total surprise. The twist did really surprise me and it was very interesting and different. I've not quite read a book like this one. So this book is about two teenagers called Lowry and Shen, and they are the last two teenagers on Earth. Basically, years ago there was this like kind of virus. There was this infertility virus which meant all the women couldn't get pregnant, and so eventually the human race has just petered out over time, and now these two, they've like kind of saved embryos over the years, and now these two are the last two left. All of the people who live in London now, which is only like 300 people, they're all like really old, and these two will probably be the last two people on the planet when all of their elders die. What can they save of humanity? Should they even keep trying to solve this infertility crisis? Is it not even worth bothering anymore after all these years of trying? And it's this really unusual story about these two who know it's just going to be them forever. One of the things I really liked about this book was there was a lot of like looking back into the past. One of the characters, Lowry, was really interested in looking at like these logs and especially like social media posts from the time of the infertility crisis when it first broke out. So she's going back on like Facebook, going through reading all these genuine people's logs on what was going on, and she almost sees it as like a historical record of what happened. And it's really interesting because you get like the past, all the way through the book, you get the past of what was happening during the crisis and then what it's led them to with these two current characters. The two things really like feed into each other, and then when the twist happens, which was totally something I didn't expect, it definitely wasn't out of the blue. Like the seeds were sown, but I just didn't piece it together. And I was like, I started to see where the past was coming in, and I was like, oh, so that's how you can start to build together how the past, you know, kind of became the future. And there's this one bit, this one intersecting section where you see it take off from where it was and what it's become to be the twist. I don't know if I'm making any sense because I'm trying to be vague. I don't want to spoil the twist, but it's definitely different. This book puts a lot of stock in technology and in like humanity and what these two kids are trying to save. All of the elders want them to take on their hobbies because they don't want their hobbies to die off. And it's really interesting and unusual. These two go on like a big adventure, which I won't divulge, and it's just so totally different. And I really enjoyed it. It was a complete wild, unusual read. So if you like things that are a bit out there, that are a bit like lonely in an aspect, this had a lonely feel with these two because it was just them against everything. There's no one else on the entire planet, which is crazy to even think about considering there's like 9 billion people on the planet right now. I do recommend it. It was really interesting, and I hope some of you pick it up and tell me what you think because it's really different. I really liked it. What can I say? And like I said, one of my favourite parts was the past like kind of logs, and obviously there's this virus, so there was a lot of connection with what was happening in the past for this book and what we're currently going through now. So as I've said in other videos, I kind of like books that talk about similar themes of what we're going through. And this does have that worldwide crisis of a virus element, which is so interesting to read these posts about this infertility crisis and how it's affecting everyone and how people are like, whoa, this is insane. Have you seen this new statement? And from the social media aspect, because this crisis that we're going through right now is the only time in history we've had a worldwide event where social media is a real factor, like World War I and II, and this is the first time such a massive thing has happened, and we've got so much information and misinformation all from social media. We're all staying at home, but we're all connected through the internet. It's such an interesting part of history, like 2020, the world we live in right now. But yeah, this had that similar social media element, and they're like talking to each other about what's going on with the virus, and they're not sure what's going to happen, and things grow. And you follow this one particular character from the past who Lowry gets really interested in, so she follows like her entire Facebook thread through the years. So you see this past character grow older and older, and her mind changes, and the world develops, and it's so interesting and sweet. And it's not like the virus isn't like the virus we have, but still, it's a worldwide virus, and it's interesting, like every country of the planet trying to come together to solve this one virus. I mean, similar, this book is so sweet and so, like I said, lonely, and so technological and interesting, and it talks a lot about what is it to be human and what should we carry forth into humanity. You know, if we went extinct and the aliens came, what would we want them to think of us? Like, what would we be leaving behind? It's a really interesting story, and I do recommend it, especially if you like things that are a bit quirky and different, because I've not read a book quite like this. I recommend it just for that. Well done for going out there and being brave and doing something really unusual, because the twist is definitely, it was a move. And I will just talk about those 3 books today. Tomorrow, when my boyfriend's out for his walk, I will review the other 4, because one of them I've already read, so I can talk about the other 3 books. And that should conclude the April wrap-up. So watch part 2 when that comes out, which should be tomorrow for you. I'm going to film it tomorrow, and also should come out one after the other, so you won't have to wait long. I hope you had as a profitable reading month as I did. April went darn well for me, dang. And it's nothing to do with this quarantine. I've still got as much time as I had before. I don't know, I just speed read this month. I was just on it. I hope you're healthy and happy and staying at home, and you've got plenty of books to take you anywhere you wish to go. Hopefully you liked this video, me talking about these books, and like it if you did, and I'd love to chat in the comments about either of these books. I don't know if anyone's read The Quiet at the End of the World, but people will probably have read This Savage Song, so come talk to me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and subscribe if you haven't. That would make my day, and I will see you in my next video.